good morning. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. I'm Mubina Kapasi, and of course, this is a show where we get you a wrap of all the newsmakers, the movers and shakers today in trade. 30 stocks in 30 minutes. Well, for now, just take a look at the market. Decent recovery witnessed, especially after the kind of carnage we've been seeing for the last 7 trading sessions. Today, finally, some green on the screen. Let's introduce then our research analysts as well as our technical analysts who are going to be joining us over the course of the next 25 odd minutes. We have with us Kunal Bothra, Siddharth Bhamri, as well as Soumya Sharma and Himen Kaparia from KR Choksi Securities as well will be joining in. So good morning to all of you. Thanks for joining in. And let's kickstart the show with the very first stock on our radar, that's United Spirits. Morgan Stanley has changed its India focus list and sector model portfolio, and it has additionally replaced Asian Paints with a United Spirits. A big developments coming in over there, and it's something that's caused United Spirits, the stock price as well, to go up approximately 1.4 odd %. USL, in fact, they are saying that the recent price weakness has created a compelling entry point into the counter. They've also said that consumer discretionary at this point of time is the largest overweight on a sector level at 500 basis points, and hence no surprise that United Spirits as well has been added on 1.5% higher for USL as we speak at 516 rupees. So now let's talk about PFC then. You're witnessing some bullish moves on the counter.
Absolutely, Mubina, and the stock has been trading quite fairly in a strong uptrend. The last 3 weeks or 4 weeks approximately, it's been trading in a consolidation mode, devoid of the market volatility, and I believe that that's a very strong and positive sign. Now with markets being slightly more stable, I think the stock is trying to gear up for a swing breakout. So that itself indicates that the patterns for PFC are quite bullish. Multiple time frames also indicate that the stock is already in a very strong multi-month, multi-quarter uptrend. So PFC is a buy even from a short-term basis, 112 as a target and stop us at 100 mark.
All right, PFC is a buy for Kunal, 3.6% higher as we speak, and he's watching out for a target of 112 rupees. Another stock that's seeing massive up move today is Praj Industries, 7% higher. Himen, what would be a strategy that you would have here?
Well, it's given a mini break of sort. We've overcome a 7 trading session downward trend. The credit indicators have given crossover buys. The stock has sustained above the 55-day exponential. So I would suggest to hold stock at 131 target.
Okay, so hold on, target of 148 rupees for Praj Industries. Soumya, Imami as well is a big newsmaker today.
Yes, of course, it is in focus since morning. Well, the group promoters sold 10% shares, stake in the company for approximately 1,600 crore rupees in a block deal to a group of investors. Well, this stake sale will help the company reduce the promoter debt, and the money will be used to fund newer businesses like cement and solar power too. Post this sale, the promoter holding in Imami will stand at 62.44% versus earlier, which was at 72.75%, and they added that the promoters as of now have no immediate plan of selling any further stake in the company.
Okay, so that's Imami, 11.9% higher today, buzzing away in trade. Kunal, let's talk about Jubilant Foodwork. What's your strategy here?
So I think we flagged off the stock even yesterday when the stock was at 1320, 1325 levels. It was trading already above its 200 moving average. The momentum is quite swift and steady for the stock. It's breaking key averages on a very consistent basis, and rather taking support at those levels as well. So I believe Jubilant Food could see some more upside. The previous swing high is closer to 1385 to 1400 levels. I believe that should be the next target for Jubilant Food from a short-term basis.
1.7% higher, and now at 1360, Kunal is watching out for 1385 rupees. Varun Beverages, a big newsmaker yesterday, bottling up all the bottling operations of PepsiCo now in India, and brokerages seem to be very, very optimistic on the counter post this. CLSA for one does expect the buyout. Remember that now it almost has a pan-India presence in India, so they do expect the buyout to be EPS accretive. The new franchise as well is expected to improve growth visibility. They have a buy with a target at 985 rupees. Himen, let's talk about TCS then. Today we are seeing some red. Technology space in general is a bit sluggish. What's your view on TCS?
Well, moving on, the shorter term picture has been spoiled. I would have a sell on bounce. It's posted a lower top, lower bottom. The daily mechanical indicators are signaling the sell. It slipped below the 55-day exponential moving average. The weekly chart is turning a bit top heavy, so I would have a sell on bounce as far as TCS is concerned.
Okay, so Himen is a bit bearish on the stock from a short-term point of view. Soumya, let's talk about Page Industries and accounting clarification there.
Yes, the company clarified to the media reports stating that the company's strong growth in revenue, the media reports that suggested that the company's strong growth in revenue was due to change in the accounting standards. It has clarified that it has continuously followed accounting standards 115, which mandates revenue recognition only upon delivery to customers. And in addition to this, they said that it hasn't recognized revenue of 36.5 crores in Q3, which they expect to do in Q4.
Okay, that of course is Page Industries for you, lower by about 0.3 odd%. I think we can go across to Siddharth. Okay, Siddharth, let's talk about Mindtree. Midcap IT has certainly been on your radar for a while now.
Well, yes, Mubina, positive trend was seen in IT space, but there were some stocks like Mindtree, KPIT. These stocks were correcting despite large cap stock going up. Now we are seeing trend reversal or some sort of correction taking place in large caps. Infosys and TCS, spoke about. These stocks are under pressure. Mindtree has, a corporate action to deal with, and we were seeing a lot of pile up of short positions in Mindtree. But today we are seeing stock doing well, and you can see on your intraday chart that there has been a sharp buying which took place in Mindtree, and this is backed by formation of long position. Look out for this stock. It is quite possible that it can go back to those 940, 950 odd levels from where we have seen some consolidation to slight negative correction.
All right, Mindtree is higher by 1.9%. Meantime, the sugar pack certainly is a sweet spot. There's a lot of noise around how sugar prices will go higher. There's a drop in output, drop in inventories. Kunal, you're flagging off Dhampur Sugar.
Yeah, I think we've been flagging off sugar stocks almost on a regular basis on this show as well, and Dhampur Sugar is what I'm trying to highlight today. The stock is at a multi-month high. If I'm not wrong, it's almost at a 1.5 or 2 year high in terms of price patterns as well. There's been a very sharp recovery in the last 6-7 months for Dhampur Sugar and many of the other sugar names. Dhampur Sugar trading at 210 plus levels, I think should continue to rally from current levels as well. 230 to 240 could be a near-term target range for Dhampur Sugar.
All right, so that's Dhampur Sugar, 5.7% higher at a multi-month high, like Kunal said. Let's talk about Prestige Estates. Meantime, this is a stock that is really buzzing today in trade as well. In fact, precisely speaking, the entire realty pack today is a strong spot for Prestige in particular at 217 rupees. We've seen the stock gain for the second straight session, and with this gain of 5.7%, the last two days of gains have clocked in at approximately 11%. So good going for Prestige Estates. Volumes as well. Already at about mid-noon, we have seen them come up to almost about 1.5 times the last 5-day average. So it's being supported by a relatively healthy volumes as well. So that's Prestige Estates along with the rest of the realty pack doing pretty well today in trade. Let's talk about HDIL. We were just talking about realty. This one, however, is where you do have a bit of a bearish stance. Why is that?
Well, Mubina, frankly speaking, it's gone nowhere. It posted a high of way back 10, 20, 15 years ago. We've gone nowhere. The last entire year, it has spent range bound with no directional bias. So sideways movement. The long-term chart remains distinctly bearish. It's a deep oversold situation. But once again, we've entered an intermediate downtrend. Hopeful underperformance. It's very clearly a sell-off.
All right, so that's HD.
Can go back to those 940, 950 odd levels from where we have seen some consolidation to slight negative correction.
All right, Mindtree is higher by 1.9%. Meantime, the sugar pack certainly is a sweet spot. There's a lot of noise around how sugar prices will go higher. There's a drop in output, drop in inventories. Kunal, you're flagging off Dhampur Sugar.
Yeah, I think we've been flagging off sugar stocks almost on a regular basis on this show as well, and Dhampur Sugar is what I'm trying to highlight today. The stock is at a multi-month high. If I'm not wrong, it's almost at a 1.5 or 2 year high in terms of price patterns as well. There's been a very sharp recovery in the last 6-7 months for Dhampur Sugar and many of the other sugar names. Dhampur Sugar trading at 210 plus levels, I think should continue to rally from current levels as well. 230 to 240 could be a near-term target range for Dhampur Sugar.
All right, so that's Dhampur Sugar, 5.7% higher at a multi-month high, like Kunal said. Let's talk about Prestige Estates meantime. This is a stock that is really buzzing today in trade as well. In fact, precisely speaking, the entire realty pack today is a strong spot for Prestige in particular at 217 rupees. We've seen the stock gain for the second straight session, and with this gain of 5.7%, the last two days of gains have clocked in at approximately 11%. So good going for Prestige Estates. Volumes as well. Already at about mid-noon, we have seen them come up to almost about 1.5 times the last 5-day average. So it's being supported by a relatively healthy volumes as well. So that's Prestige Estates along with the rest of the realty pack doing pretty well today in trade. Let's talk about HDIL. We were just talking about realty. This one, however, is where you do have a bit of a bearish stance. Why is that?
Well, Mobina, frankly speaking, it's gone nowhere. It posted a high of way back 10, 20, 15 years ago. We've gone nowhere. The last entire year, it has spent range bound with no directional bias. So sideways movement. The long-term chart remains distinctly bearish. It's a deep oversold situation. But once again, we've entered an intermediate downtrend. Hopeful underperformance. It's very clearly a sell-off.
All right, so that's HDIL. It's 2% higher, like with the rest of the realty pack. But Himain is saying that he does remain a bit skeptical on the stock move. All right, Soumya, let's talk about Ambuja Cement. Final leg of earnings, and this is one of the last ones that's coming out with the Q4 numbers, rather. What is the review like? What are brokerages saying?
Well, the company registered a steady revenue growth of 6% on a standalone basis for Q4 calendar year 18. The reported PAT was up by 59%, which included tax write-back of 333 crores year-on-year basis. Well, talking about the adjusted EBITDA margins, they were a bit of disappointment, down from 19.4% to 14.6%. Apart from this, the cement sales volume were up by 4%. It also informed the exchanges that they have named Bimlendra Jha as MD and CEO of the company. Talking about Macquarie's note on Ambuja, they have maintained a neutral stance with the target price of 218 per share. They say that weak West has dragged down Q4 calendar year 18 and caused deflation to benefit in calendar year 19. Growth projects on track, but 3 years away.
All right, so that's Ambuja Cements for you today. It's gaining by about 0.4%. Siddharth, let's flag off Axis Bank then.
Moving on, 3 corporate banks which most of the experts are recommending. One is ICICI Bank, second Axis Bank and SBI. Now we are seeing that with market correction, ICICI Bank and SBI from short-term perspective have seen a negative trend. Axis Bank also corrected, but the short-term trend has still not changed. In fact, yesterday's stock was doing good. Today also, stock has been seeing formation of long position, as you can see on your charts screen that it is higher. Plus, there is a strong support zone where gap was created 3-4 weeks back. That is between 672 and 682, and that gap has now become a strong support for Axis Bank. And now we are seeing resumption of an uptrend in this counter.
Okay, well, Axis Bank today is gaining 1.4%. Well, we'll do one thing. We'll just take a quick breather right here on Market Fatafat. Stay tuned. We'll continue with the countdown once we return. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's continue with the countdown of the top movers and shakers then. And Siddharth, we have been talking about the realty space. DLF is one such stock that's contributing to the gains. What do you make of the move seen today?
Well, if you look at most of the real estate stocks, as you pointed out, are doing well. Now, what's happening in DLF that it was consolidating. It was consolidating in a narrow range with support around this 155 odd levels and resistance still around that 165. But wait, today the volumes are happening. If you look at the future segment, then there is a long built up. There is around 7 to 8% rise in open interest. It suggests at this point of time that there is a price volume breakout in offering for DLF even after this 4-5% move. So watch out for further upside.
Okay, so that's DLF just about hovering near the day's high. Kunal, let's talk about Apollo Tyres here as well. You seem to be bullish.
So, many of these stocks have, in the mid-cap space, what has transpired in the last 1 week is that sharp, sudden fall or the pace of fall has gotten arrested. These stocks take a pause and then you see a turn of, chart patterns of prices for many of these stocks. Apollo Tyre is a very similar kind of a chart pattern. So, I think earlier, a couple of weeks back, the stock was going through a sharper kind of a downside fall, then it consolidated, and now the indicators have started to turn up for Apollo Tyre. So that in itself indicates that these stocks or many of these mid-cap stocks in Apollo Tyre, case in point, I think could probably go through a mean reversion process or a short-term rally. 215 is a short-term target which I am eyeing on Apollo Tyres. Would recommend a buy. Stop loss to be kept at 200.
Okay, a little over 2% gain seen in Apollo Tyres. McNally Bharat, meantime, here's a stock we don't talk about very often, but it's not such good news coming in for the company, especially after the auditor has actually raised concerns over the financial health of the company in this quarter's earnings. The revenues, by the way, have slipped to 271 crore rupees. Not just that, it's been accompanied by a widening of loss figure. So from 144 crore rupees in the corresponding quarter, it's come in at 193 crore rupees. So a significant expansion seen over there. And then to top that, you do have the auditor as well saying that perhaps the financial health is not in the best place right now. So McNally Bharat reacting to its numbers. It's any which way, it's just a stock worth 8 rupees. It's fallen further, 4% lower today in trade. Hemian, Divi's Labs is something where you are recommending a sell on bounce. Why is that?
Moving on multiple things. The stock has entered a short-term decline. We've seen crossover sales coming in on the daily chart. Interestingly enough, even some of the weekly mechanical indicators are on the cusp of giving crossover sales, that too after reflecting negative divergence. We have seen a 6% action that was short up. All in all, I think the stock is getting top heavy. We've just taken support on the 55-day moving average, but the picture seems to be deteriorating on the daily as well as weekly chart, so it's a sell.
All right, so that's Divi's Labs, 1.25% lower for the company. Soumya, the last of the paper company earnings, this time around, however, while most paper companies have reported especially good numbers on the margin front, the profit for Huhtamaki PPL has actually fallen.
Yes, that's right. In fact, the company clocked in a strong revenue growth of like 9% for Q4 calendar year 18, but the PAT was a bit of a disappointment, and the bottom line was down by 14% year-on-year basis. Apart from this, the company also informed yesterday that the board has approved payment of dividend at 3 per share.
Okay, so that's Huhtamaki PPL higher by 3.4%. Siddharth, Bharti Airtel today is among the top Nifty gainers.
Well, yes, and here too, Mubina, this large cap name has dragged itself quite a lot, and thanks to all those competitive pressure in the sector. But then look at the charts and you'll come to know that the stock was in a range, and it still is in a range, 285 to 90 or 295 on the downside and 315 on the upside. But again today the built up in future segment is pretty okay, 3 to 4% rise in open interest. Volumes in futures market is quite high. In fact, it has crossed previous day's volume. Even in cash market, volumes are about to cross previous day's volume, and that's just in first 2.5 hours of the market trade. So here too, like DLF, this is also one large cap stock which is preparing itself for a breakout from that consolidation zone.
Okay, Airtel today is higher by 2.5%, and yes, there's volume activity as well, according to Siddharth, that does point it to the green. Kunal, let's talk about Indian Bank. Why are you flagging this one off?
So many of the PSU banks, they are now showing some bit of, green tick today. Indian Bank, had a very good, a couple of days, I think last week, start of last week, and then it took a pause, it took a U-turn, stock reversed back. Now I believe that with indicators showing some bit of positive action, I believe that the 210, 214 base for Indian Bank could act as a very strong support, because the indicators are now trying to get into very strong momentum kind of a territory, and that itself could probably have some positive effects into the stock price as well. So Indian Bank could be a short-term buy, targets of almost 230 and stop loss at 205.
So Kunal has a buy on Indian Bank. Tata Motors, meantime, a newsmaker. This after Tata Steel is set to have bought shares of Tata Motors last week, almost about 1.18 crore shares. So they've upped their stake from 33.6% to a little over 34%. And do remember, in the last 4 days as well, despite the overall weakness in the markets, we had seen Tata Motors do very well in terms of stock price performance. Well, another stock that's still managing to hold on is Dish TV. You know, in the last 7 days, despite the overall weakness in the markets, we had seen Dish TV be very, very resilient. Hemant, you, however, do have a negative view. So what's your reason?
Well, frankly speaking, Mubina, we've been in a longer term downtrend for the last 3.5 years. We've had at least 7, if not more, such dead cat bounces over the period of time. We have recently posted a fresh so the outlook remains negative. Yes, we have seen a recovery coming in, but as of now, it's still a recovery and not a rally. It was deeply oversold. We need to test the recent bottom first before confirming a high of higher, and that is going to take time. And the question mark over the sustainability still remains. I look at it, it is.
All right. So it's still not a rally. It's more or less of a recovery that we are seeing in Dish TV today. However, the stock price is down 2%. So you may be saying hold on yet. Okay, Soumya, HUL today, big loser.
Yes, it has been focused on the back of a brokerage note by Credit Suisse. Well, they say that HUL has been the big beneficiary of the GST rate cuts, and now as we move forward, the volume slowdown is likely as GST tailwinds have been behind. Now, the sequential trends indicate that they can see a sharp slowdown in the volumes itself.
Okay, so that's HUL, again losing in trade today, down by 0.9%. Siddharth, why are you flagging off Balkrishna Industries?
Mubina, we have been talking this since last few months that how auto and auto ancillary names are under pressure. Now, even tire stocks were down, and most of the tire stocks are still in a downward trend. But Balkrishna Industries since last 5-6 trading session have shown signs of stabilizing, and today it is showing signs of probably showing further upside. As you can read on your screen that volumes are high in both the segments, and we are seeing some formation of long positions. 840, that is where the resistance is, but the way statistics are getting panned out, it seems that this stock is poised to threaten that resistance and move higher.
Okay, 1.9% higher for Balkrishna. Kunal, Jindal Steel, we had seen green on the screen yesterday post the order win. What are you witnessing today?
So, in terms of technical structure, there is this, bullish pennant formation on the hourly charts, and it's, it's a very clear and, crystal kind of a pattern, because the volumes, when the stock rose from 125 to 145, and then when the stock is consolidating for the last 3 days in this tight range, the volumes pattern are also quite, classical in nature for Jindal Steel. So I believe that this stock could be poised for a very decent breakout. 145 is the breakout point for Jindal Steel. I would recommend a buy about those levels for target of 155 and stop loss at 140.
Okay, an update when it comes to Hotel Leela. Moving on then, promoter arm Rockford Estate is going to be acquiring a little over a 1% stake in Hotel Leela. This is going to be, this transfer rather is going to be taking place on or after the 25th of Feb. Hotel Leela, quiet moves, well, it's 1.26% higher, but yeah, it's an update coming in the entire stake sale process. Hemant, Jubilant Life, you have a buy here?
Yes, Mubina, I think the stock has given a high volume spike today. It's sustaining about the 55-day exponential moving average. The weekly mechanical indicators are turning positive. It's 11-week price consolidation, Mubina, and the stock is setting the stage for an upward breakout. However, the breakout comes in at 770, so I have two targets. It's a buy, stop loss 715. First target is 770, and the assumption is that it gives an upward breakout by closing 770. Then the next target comes in at 790.
All right, so that's Jubilant Life for you, 4.5% higher. And Soumya, finally, sugar stocks are all a bust today.
Yes, Dan, like we've been discussing all the sugar stocks, Balrampur Chini, Sri Renuka, Ugar Sugar, Andhra Sugar, all of them have been in focus and are buzzing. Well, this is on back of, it's expected that the dry weather in some areas may result in lower sugar output in India, which would sink to 3-year low from next season, consequently resulting in lower sugar, in actually higher sugar prices. Well, this is going to benefit all the sugar companies. Production may slide to less than 30 million metric tons in the year that begins on October 1, and from an estimated 31.5 million tons this season. A shrinking harvest will potentially cut overseas shipments and support global prices that fell by 21% in 2018.
Okay, and with that, we'll wrap it up on this edition of the show. Hemant, thanks so much for joining in and giving our viewers your technical recommendations. Kunal, Siddharth, Soumya to you as well. Coming up next is Market Segment.